Hey everyone! I thought it would be fun to film this video, and I took inspiration from the beauty YouTube community, and I'm going to do an empties video. So I have here a bunch of empty watercolor tubes, and then I also have a pile of empty paper pads or blocks. And the goal of this video is, first of all, that I feel comfortable letting go of these. Some of them have still a little bit of paint, so it might be a bit cheating. But most of them are pretty empty. And the goal is to, you know, just give you kind of a quick review of some products, if I like them, if I'm going to repurchase them, and if not, then why. That's kind of it. What I can tell you is I hope to go to the art store next week, and I know I will be buying some more Lukas Naples Yellow Red, which is this full pan. It looks like there's still paint here, but this was, you know, completely full. And right now I'm almost like hitting pan. I mean, I hit pan, but I guess with all the like re-wetting, it kind of leveled a little bit. So definitely going to repurchase that. I'm almost done with it. And yeah, I don't think I have anything else here that I'm running extremely low on. I would like a tube of Holbein's Opera. I recently kind of fell in love with that color. I only have a small tube. But Holbein is not something that my local art store carries, so I might have to order that. I decided it would be much easier and more helpful for you to film these with color swatches. So what I was able to open, because some of these are quite, you know, they just need to be tossed, I swatched for you. Okay, so let's start with, what do I have here? Oh, stickers. Let's start with Schmincke's Naples Yellow. I love this color. I recently been kind of using a lot more the Lukas Yellow Red, which I'm going to swatch here next to Naples Yellow, just so you can see the difference. So you can see it's a lot more orange than Naples Yellow, but I don't know, that seems to be where my heart is taking me these days. I love, though, Naples Yellow, and I have repurchased not the Schmincke version because it's not vegan, and I'm trying to use only vegan art supplies. So I've repurchased the color in the MeimeriBlu version. From my experience, a lot of brands make Naples Yellow that is kind of more earthy and not as like buttery. I always call it kind of opaque, almost pastel color like Schmincke does. That's what I prefer, and the MeimeriBlu version is very similar to the Schmincke one. So I love this color. I will continue to use it. I've loved it for years. This is my second large tube of this. And yeah, it's a beautiful color. If you don't care about, you know, vegan or not vegan, then the Schmincke version is just beautiful. This is probably one of the first tubes I ever bought. This is lemon yellow, super standard color. Every brand has it. I don't like it at all. It's one of those colors that I bought because, you know, when you read about a very versatile color palette, you hear having like a cool yellow and a warm yellow. I don't like cool yellows. I don't like lemon yellow. You can have a palette without it if you don't like it. You just need to know, you know, what it can do and if you can get there with other colors. So yeah, it's the Schmincke version is, you know, it's okay. It's a very kind of transparent, bright lemony yellow. Other brands I think do this job just as well. It's not a color that I like at the moment, so no plans of repurchasing it from any brand. Next we have Core Transparent Pyrrol Orange. I was into this color for a while, and Schmincke also has a version of it. I think Jean Haynes used to use the Schmincke version back in the day when she wasn't, I think she exclusively uses Daniel Smith right now. It's a beautiful transparent orange. I just don't like the color itself and therefore have no plans on repurchasing it. Moving on, Daniel Smith Quinacridone Burnt Scarlet. As you can see, this is a lovely, transparent, earthy color. You can get it to be more intense. I just did a quick little sample here for you. It's a lovely color, not my cup of tea, not going to repurchase. Quinacridone Coral is I have the Daniel Smith tube that really, I don't know, kind of has gone bad and I couldn't swatch it for you. It's a beautiful color. Now that I swatched the MeimeriBlu version that I have, every brand makes this, or almost every brand. Usually this color is called Quinacridone Red. Daniel Smith calls theirs Quinacridone Coral. You can see it's this really beautiful pinky red, I would say. The camera actually captures it a little bit differently than in real life. It's more pink in real life than the camera is showing. It's a lovely color. I used a lot of it. I think this was also my second tube. I just, at the moment, even though I'm looking at it and it's giving me the feels, so I might reintroduce it to my palette, but I haven't used it in some time. I love this color. I think it's beautiful and I'm happy I have a tube. And maybe I'll put it back in my palette. Daniel Smith Opera Pink, super, super fluorescent, garish opera pink. I love bright, bright pinks, but this particular one I don't like and I won't be repurchasing. All of these are fugitive, so I can't get away from that, but I don't really like the Daniel Smith version. I've seen artists do lovely things with it. Just doesn't work for me. Not a fan. Okay, Quinacridone Rose, that's the color here from Daniel Smith. Now that is actually my favorite Quinacridone Rose. I feel it's like the brightest from the bunch. And yet here I have it next to Holbein Opera, which is my most recent pink obsession. And it just looks so dead. It makes me so sad. I'll tell you my philosophy about pinks and you can agree or disagree, and I'm happy to discuss this and, you know, we can talk about it respectively, obviously. So opera pink, opera, bright rose, all of these like beautifully bright fluorescent neon pinks are fugitive. However, hear me out. I love them. And my philosophy is, first of all, if you paint in a sketchbook, then Lightfast ratings, or if you do a lot of like sketching and studies and everything and you want to use colors that you love, I think it's, you know, a legitimate choice of using fugitive colors. That's my personal view. I see really successful artists use fluorescent colors and neon colors in their artwork, so it seems like it's a legitimate choice, you know, made by many, also those that sell their artwork. My view on the fugitive pinks is that I am willing to enjoy the vibrancy and brightness of them while I'm painting and for the next 10 or 20 years. If I hang a piece of artwork that I made with them, I will not hang it in direct sunlight. So I know they will fade in time, and I'm okay with them fading into a more, like a less vibrant pink, and enjoy, you know, 10 or 20 years of the vibrancy than giving it up altogether and starting from the less bright pinks. So I hope I kind of made my point. And, you know, I'm happy to hear everyone's opinion about this. We can happily discuss this, but that's where I'm coming from. This is why I use these colors. I love them, and I'm okay with them, you know, changing in decades from now, and I will protect them if I choose to like frame artwork where I use them. So that's where I'm coming from. So this is Quinacridone Rose. I have repurchased it. I have a large tube of this, but right now looking at this, it's kind of looks sad next to my happier pinks. Speaking of, these are all my bright roses. That's the color. It has a large space in my palette. That's that here, Bright Rose, Holbein Bright Rose, and here's Holbein Opera. Look at the sad pinks next to it. You might not be fugitive, but you're a bit sad. So this is what I'm dealing with. I need to order a large tube. The Schmincke Magenta, I wasn't able to open it. I won't be repurchasing it. I swatched here the Core Quinacridone Magenta. To me, it's one of these colors. Everyone kind of loves it. It's super, super popular. It looks a bit sad to me. I really don't like the tone of it. Between Quinacridone Rose and Magenta, I would go for Quinacridone Rose. Personal preference, absolutely. This is, you know, a good, versatile color, and, you know, a lot of people love it. So it's just me. Then here we have an interesting one. This one is the Emgram Ultramarine Pink. This is a beautiful, I would say maybe a slightly pinkish, slightly more muted version of Cobalt Violet, which we'll talk about in a sec, which is my favorite color, Cobalt Violet. I ordered this tube a few years ago from the States. Emgram is an American brand. And so this is Cobalt Violet, just to give you a bit of an idea. I think it's beautiful, and I might hunt for a version from, maybe I can find a European brand, definitely a vegan brand. What I don't like about Emgram, the formula doesn't work for me. It's way too gooey. These are honey based, and in my travel palette, I have it here. And when I traveled with this palette, if I didn't store it horizontally, which, you know, it's kind of annoying to have to think about it, the paint would just like move around. So I don't know, maybe if you leave it open for like 2 weeks to really, really dry, then you won't have that issue. But it doesn't work for me. It's way too gooey. It never dries. Some people love it and adore these paints for it. So I'm just telling you as it is. For me, it doesn't work. I won't be repurchasing. I think the color is beautiful. I kind of fall in and out of love with it, like I do with a lot of colors. Okay, let's move on to the next batch, starting with my beloved Cobalt Violet. So I have here, I love this color. I go through a lot of it. This is the Rembrandt one. This is the most recent one. This is a Winsor & Newton one. And then I have the Core one. So my all-time favorite, I've said it a gazillion times, it's the Winsor & Newton one. This is a color that is hard to formulate, Cobalt Violet. And also the shade of it varies greatly amongst brands. So all of these are kind of more pinkish Cobalt Violet, which is what I love. But then you have brands like Lukas and Schmincke where their version is a lot more bluish, which I just don't like, just like my personal preference. So that already kind of limits my choices. And it's a hard color to formulate. The Daniel Smith version, which is also quite pinkish, is completely useless. It's full of binder, dries to stone, very, very anemic. Don't like it at all. I think it's a waste of money. I love Daniel Smith, but that one they got wrong. And Core, I have to say, is the same. My experience with, you know, one tube was very disappointing. A lot of binder. I did all the tricks. I massaged it. I stirred it. It was very, very, very sticky with kind of a weak pigmentation. The Rembrandt one, which is, you know, local to me, it's a European brand, it's vegan, it's quite affordable, the color is nice, the formulation is good. It's not as good as Winsor & Newton, but it's good. And what I think I will do is, that's what I currently have in my palette, and that's the sample here. I might just buy a large pan if I can find it. The pans are formulated differently, and it's kind of a safer choice. If you want to try this color but you don't want to risk getting a dud tube, I think Winsor & Newton, a lot of people that have been watching my channel, I know, picked up a pan or a tube of Cobalt Violet, and almost everyone was very pleased with it, but a few got sadly some duds just because it's a problematic color. I'm sorry. I'm not surprised that I'm obsessed with it and it's problematic. It's just, it seems right. But if you want to try it, then try a Winsor & Newton pan. You can get a half pan or a Rembrandt pan if you want a vegan version. And then you can, I think you won't be disappointed, and you can really see if you like that color. Problematic color. I absolutely will be repurchasing. Moonglow, I know there's talk about the light fast rating. I go back to what I said. I'm just very particular with color, and if I find a mixture that is just right and the shade is just right for me, I kind of stick with it, and I'm willing to overlook the light fastness issue. I know for some it's like a, you know, absolutely critical. I completely respect that and understand it. I love Moonglow. If I can find a similar, identical version from another brand that is light fast and vegan, I will absolutely happily try it. For the moment, I have repurchased. I have a large tube, and this color is in my palette. I love it. I use it all the time. French Ultramarine. This is the Ken Bromley version. I bought it years ago. I think it's lovely. I think these are considered student grade. If you're on a budget, if you're painting a lot, or if you want to buy, I don't know, maybe you have like a kid that is, you know, in art school or taking art classes, uses a lot of paint. I know my kids go through a lot of paint. It's really worth trying, like, you know, house brands of major stores like Ken Bromley, like Jackson's, or I don't know what you have in the States. But these are really worth trying, especially for the very, very standard colors. So I was pleased with it. It's a nice version. Currently, I'm using the Rembrandt one. I really, really love the tone of it. You can see it's like quite intense, and it granulates. All French Ultramarines granulate. Some just more than others. It depends also on the paper. I love the Rembrandt one. I still have here a bit, or I have here a fair amount, I would say, probably half a pan at least. But I will be repurchasing once I'm done. Lunar Blue, already repurchased. Love this color. This is a color you can quite easily mix. This is Phthalo Blue mixed with Mars Black, I think usually it's called. So Phthalo Blue and a granulating black. Not all Mars Blacks were born equal. Some are more granulating than others. I really, really, really love the Daniel Smith Lunar Black, as you can see here. Again, I just really like how they formulated this. So for me, it's a convenience color. I have repurchased, did I say that? I have a large tube of this, and this is usually the only blues that I have in my palette, this one and this one. So I love this color, but you can definitely mix your own version of it. Moving on to the Cobalt Teals. So I have here 3 tubes. This is the Schmincke Cobalt Turquoise. This is Cobalt Teal by Core, and this is Cobalt Teal Blue by Daniel Smith. All of these are PG50. All of these are incredibly similar. Some might be a little bit greener, a little bit bluer. I love them all. I haven't found a Cobalt Teal I didn't love. I need this color in my palette at any given time. I usually use it for highlights. It's also great for mixers, like for mixtures. And I have repurchased this version from Lukas. This is a 24 milliliter tube. It's ginormous. It will last me forever, and it's called Cobalt Turquoise. Not to be confused with what most other brands call Cobalt Turquoise, which is a slightly more muted version of this. Also really beautiful. I might reintroduce it to my palette. I did have it in my palette. Usually I just go for the bright teal. This tube says PB28, which is cobalt blue. A viewer wrote me that her tube says PG50, so I don't know if that's a mistake, but this color looks exactly like all of my PG50 Cobalt Teals. This is incredibly affordable. If you're in Europe, this ginormous tube of 24 mils costs about 10 euros, which is probably like $11 or $12. And it's a really, really great economical choice. I love Lukas paints. The problem is their color range is not huge. But if I find colors that I love from that brand, like my beloved Naples Yellow Red, such a good deal. So have repurchased, need this color always in my palettes. Daniel Smith Cascade Green. I love this. This is again a mixed color. I don't care. They got the formulation perfect. And if I haven't repurchased already, I don't think I have a tube. I will be buying a large tube of this color. It is, you can see it's a separating color. And what is in it? PBR7, PB15, so pretty standard pigments, but they just got the mixture perfect, and I love this green. I'm keeping it. So it's staying in my palette. This is Daniel Smith Green Appetite Genuine. I don't like this color at all. I think it's garish. It's probably interesting in mixtures, but I next to it I swatched olive green from Daniel Smith, which is kind of my current green crush from Daniel Smith. It has the Green Appetite. It has really interesting granulation, but I really don't like this green that it has. It's like so garish. I really don't like that. So I'm not going to repurchase. The olive green next to it was just for comparison's sake. Okay, last two. We have Schmincke's Payne's Gray. It's a nice Payne's Gray. Not going to repurchase because I just don't use grays out of a tube. It seems I really like to mix my own neutrals. I don't have anything, you know, like against, like no principle against it. I just really found by trying that I prefer the grays that I mix with the colors that I use. They're just so much more interesting, and this, it just looks a bit flat in comparison. That's my personal experience, but a lot of people use Payne's Gray, a lot of people love Payne's Gray. This is just my personal opinion. So Lunar Black from Daniel Smith. I think I repurchased it. Now, this is a color that is not unique and every brand offers it. I bought the Van Gogh version to try it because it's just a lot cheaper than Daniel Smith here in Europe. And I didn't like it as much. And so if I'm going to purchase a granulating black, I will be repurchasing Lunar Black because I think Daniel Smith just got the granulation so nicely. And it's just a really nice color to have. However, lately I just find myself using things like Moon Glow or, you know, my Precious, which also a lot of you have tried and loved. That makes me very happy. The Rembrandt Dusk Pink. So I don't know, I guess just convenience colors that I don't have to mix. I've just been enjoying these dark muted colors that have a little bit of color to them. So just like a muted color and not just the black. Of course you can mix it and create your own versions of, you know, Dusk Pink or Moon Glow or all of these. But, well, Moon Glow doesn't have a granulating black. But you can make your own versions. But I'm just, you know, with some colors, if I find the perfect shade, then this is another example. This is Van Gogh's Dusk Yellow. So again, like these muted colors that have granulation but still some color to them, I just find them more interesting and I enjoy using them more. Even something like, for staying with Daniel Smith, something like a Bloodstone. I'll show you how it looks. So this is Bloodstone. It's, you know, you can say it's almost a black. Even in their dot card, it's right next to the blacks. but I feel like it still has a little bit more, it's almost like it has like a very slight purple undertone that I just find it more interesting than the super, super, super neutral Lunar Black. So that's kind of my thing. I love from all of the granulating blacks, I love the Lunar Black the most, the ones that I've tried, but just recently it's not been giving me the feels, so I really prefer other colors to it. I hope this was enjoyable, a bit helpful, and I will be tossing all of these empty tubes. That makes me very, very happy. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you soon in another video. Have a wonderful day. Bye.